Hello, folks. Welcome back to Bunker Wednesday. Here we go. We got James here from Heritage War Sirens, and we are going to be talking about this week, seeing what information we can get about British Telecom repeater bunkers.
Repeater? Yeah.
Yeah. The PR1 and the PR2.
Yeah.
What does PR mean?
Protected repeater.
Protected repeater. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There you go. All right. Right, let's have a look at the background and all that stuff. See what you know. Let's. What led to the construction of protected repeater stations during the Cold War?
So again, it was all to do with the resilience of communications back then. So these were first built in the earlier Cold War phase. So repeater stations were needed for boosting the phone signal over long distances. So these would have been scattered around the country already anyway. But when they were worried about an atomic bomb going off, taking those out, they could lose them long distance communication lines, if you like. So they put about building a series of protected repeaters. I think it was all part of the same system as the bigger ones in London, if you like. So, like Kingsway, Guardian, and those sort of things. In those cities, they were dug deep enough that the repeater equipment was protected deep enough underground. But in other city areas where the main trunk lines run through the centre of the city, these were really vulnerable if an atomic detonation had gone off. So they went for a program of moving these important trunk lines to the outskirts of the cities, if you like, and they built protected repeater stations, or started to build them. As I say, I think there wasn't a high number of them built in the end before they gave up on doing it. So there were two different variants of these particular bunkers, if you like. So you had the PR1s and the PR2s. The only difference is there were more PR1s than 2s. I think there were 6 PR1s possibly, and two PR2s. The PR2s were just longer. That's it. Those had more distance on the exchange floor, but I think there was only a couple of them built. So the PR2 was slightly bigger, if you like. So these were semi-sunken bunkers. So first floor completely underground. That would have held your machinery level, so your backup generator sets,
you can see it on there.
So this is actually the upper floor, this one. So
is it?
Again, this is only a partial plan as well. It is missing some sections off this end, but this is just what was sent to me. So yeah, we can see this is the upper floor. We've got the actual entry from ground level here, if you like, and again you go through double blast doors, so it has that sort of protected entryway, if you like. The entire thing was concrete above ground, so there were no windows or anything like that. It was a protected structure, if you like. So this is the upper floor, and this is all the exchange repeater equipment here, if you like. You've got the backup battery room you can see over there. By the time this was produced, you can see it's quite empty. A lot of those have been removed, if you like.
Right.
So you got motor gear room there, but the main generating plants are actually on the floor below,
Right.
in the more protected area, if you like. And there was also a couple of manual operated frames down there. So whether that was part of the sort of emergency manual switching system, which was another backup system, which could do a limited amount of communications through the old sort of World War II manual style system, if you like, if the automatic system failed. So yeah, as I say, the lower floor on this would have been a massive pair of backup generators and all the associated equipment to start them, so compressors and air tanks and all kinds of massive equipment, if you like, to run that. So this was all part of an integrated system, if you like. Again, St Margaret's was that sort of underground protected repeater, if you like. So these were dotted all over the country just for that communications resilience, and this was one of the systems, if you like. Again, I think they stopped building these in the 60s when the sort of hydrogen bomb come along.
Yeah, because on the plaque on the front of these bunkers, it's got like Crown 1958. I think
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if other ones got different dates, but the one we went to was 58.
58. So they were that sort of early Cold War period when they were looking at building their sort of backup resilient systems, if you like. And they had all different kinds of systems, different things. I mean, we had backup food storage. There were hardened warehouses for food storage for distribution,
Cold,
emergency,
cold stores.
all that sort of thing. So they had a lot of backup for different systems, and yeah, their protected repeater was all part of it. Especially BT had a lot to do, and the sort of post office telephones before to do with the sort of Cold War communications, both military and civil, if you like, the different backup systems they had. So you see the metal panel here. That's just part of. This came off one of the racks from inside. So this was just below some of the repeater exchange equipment, and this is just a plaque saying where the power for that particular set of exchange equipment had come from, if you like. So
Basically, you've saved that.
Yeah,
That's a relic from the old bunker, folks.
Yeah, that's one save. Yeah, as I say, this is now the bunker itself is still there, but it no longer has any equipment in it. I think the site's actually up for sale now, so it's pretty much most of that stuff that's inside is long gone now. So but we do have an extra map there, an early one there. I don't know if you want to see that one.
Yeah, do you want to lift it? I'll try and film it.
It is a big one.
This will be fun, folks.
Oh god. So on them backup generators, which were fitted on the lower level for this particular exchange, obviously they needed their wiring schematics. So this is
It's a whole one in.
yeah, we'll do that. So that's the original wiring schematics for the backup power supplies, if you like, the continuity set. So this is from the Stockport PR1 there. So they'd all had, this is sort of I think we said it was 1960s. This was updated. But
in the plaque up there. I don't know
original drawing was 1958. So this is for the original generator sets which went in there. So this is just all the different power supply switching and things like that.
It's massive.
This is a wiring diagram and a half, but yeah. So all these sort of things, sort of original relics from inside from that period. So. Yeah,
it's nice to have, isn't it?
Doesn't that one underneath say MR3? Doesn't it on the? Yeah. Oh, fed from MRF. I was wondering if it was actually on there.
I have got MR3 is on the end there.
Yeah.
See on the very
it doesn't
end.
actually.
Oh yeah.
It just says fed from MR, doesn't it?
Oh, MRF.
Yeah,
so it was probably came off of one of these, but it was probably a distribution board connected to it somewhere.
Does this make any sense to you?
That's quite advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad that a lot of these technicians, who use this stuff, are slowly going, aren't they? Sadly, but
It makes you wonder how many current BT engineers would look at this and understand it.
On the power supply side, probably they would be. They have a very good idea of what's going on there. You can see you've got your three different phases there, and that's your neutral bus running down there. So that's your three lives. So again, this is a sort of 415 volts, same as the sirens run on. So, but they have some big engines.
yeah, that's it. So this is the only bits you got.
This is all I've got here today. My friend Matt has a much larger collection from the sort of PRs. So
Be interesting to see his stuff.
yeah. Well, maybe we can get him down here one day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
send him to the bunker, folks.
Yeah, I'll send him down. Yeah.
It's only so big though, so
Yeah, you have to do.
Yeah, I must admit, any bigger than this in the way of maps, we got a problem. We really.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it fit on that wall, would it? I mean,
Well,
it might.
we could build an extension down there.
Yeah,
So
Go down.
expand it. Yeah.
under
But
the bunker.
on the way for Chris's hatch, that's not appeared
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
I went for the airway siren on the roof.
Oh god,
sure
I don't
it
think
won't
the handle it would worm, folks.
Well, he sent me a picture the other day of the chimney pot and said, "Do you reckon we could take the chimney pot off and put the
Yeah,
airway siren on?"
the boiler chimney pot. Don't use it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Plimp for the old siren.
Could do, yeah. Your neighbours will love you. Yeah.
Well, so who commissioned? Well, this is just who commissioned and operated these bunkers? Was it solely the GPO, or were the government and military involved?
Inside this sort of facility, it would have been GPO engineers, if you like. Although obviously, I should imagine the government had a sort of input on the sort of planning of what the system that they wanted, these sort of protected stations, if you like. It would have been GPO sort of engineers working and running, and you can even see in here you've got a maintenance and workspace order area here, so you would have had them sort of engineers. But you'll notice there's no sort of sleeping accommodation or anything like that listed in here. This was literally just to protect the equipment, to keep it running, if you like. So
I just hope there's some people left to
be
around to sort anything out.
Yeah, although I think there were some sort of basic rest facilities provided inside, like toilets and a
probably a
kitchenette,
kitchen and that. Yeah,
but there wasn't sort of bunk space and things like that, if you like. So this was all about working and protecting.
I'm assuming the backup generators, would that have been automatic? Do you reckon it would have kicked in?
Usually there would be on these sort of things an automatic changeover, if you like. You had the battery room as well, which would have covered that sort of gap between the mains power failure and the backup generators coming online, if you like. So again, those batteries could have probably run for quite a few hours. The system's operating in there as well. So it was all just about keeping that system running, if you like, in the event of war, because they would need those telephone lines to keep going. So.
Yeah. Do you remember, Chris, when we went to that one?
Yeah.
They had those big sections. Were they for transformers, weren't they? They had big green doors.
Yeah, massive transformers.
And there's that big crane section next to it, I think, as well, that went up to the upper floor.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you had all kinds of equipment in there, big motors running for changing frequencies for different equipment, and those were some massive three-phase motors running them. So they needed a lot of power to keep this equipment running back then. So
yeah, so this was, we've got here. What was it? Where is it? Were these bunkers part of the emergency communication network?
So they would have been part of keeping the network going, if you like, those sort of main long distance trunk lines. This equipment kept the signal amplified going along for voice communications going through them. So
how were these protected against? Well, blast is fair enough. It's semi-sunk there, folks, and they're pretty thick walls. EMP.
Yep. So again, when these were first built, you're talking that early Cold War period where there hadn't been so much study on EMP effects, if you like, when they first. So that sort of came along more and more the further on you get in the Cold War. So there would have been equipment changes in here over the years that it did operate. So different systems would have been bought in to sort of cope with that EMP, if you like, which is more sort of resistant components and things like that as well. But obviously it's not like the Faraday cages like you get in the Southern ones and things like that. It would have had to have been a much bigger protection system in place there.
I'm sure that I can't remember where I've read it, that Kelton Hatch, that was used, regional city government and all that, wasn't it, up to the
I had a Faraday cage sort of laid into
it laid into it.
Yeah. So whether these did or not would be interesting.
So it's just wire, isn't it, around the bunker?
It's just basically a cage, if you like, put in around it. So it'd be interesting to see if
because that's a 1950s build, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
So they obviously had some inkling, but if you look at some of the, obviously originally it would have been a lot of valve technology, which wasn't as badly affected as the sort of later on transistors, if you like, as that stuff was brought in. So but you would have thought at least even semi-sunk they could have covered the upper half, would have given it a lot more protection.
I mean, even in areas like near Birmingham and all that, heavy targets, wasn't it, I suppose? Hope Cove rotor bunker was semi-sunk. A lot of the West Coast rotor bunkers were above ground or semi-sunk.
Yeah.
But the ones down on the south and the east side
were underground. Ones, I think because they saw the West Coast as less of a target area, if you like. But they would have still have known what they were.
I suppose the bombers, when they're coming over, it was more in the 50s. It was more planes carrying atom bombs.
That's it. Yeah.
And later it was then missiles. But still need to get over to the West Coast at some point. Some of the bits over there. It's such a long way. It's trouble, isn't it? I know.
Yeah.
How long could one of these sites operate independently during the national emergency?
I think most things down there had that sort of 30-day sort of time limit on the generator fuel, if you like, and obviously they had backup batteries. But I think is that enough time to sort of get emergency fuel to places if you need it. I mean, I know this had a tank buried underground outside the bunker as well as internal tanks. So I'd say it had a very good fuel supply there
Yeah.
to last a long time. But again, this was all just about keeping the machinery working as
Yeah, it
opposed to the people, if you like, I suppose.
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it? I remember because we went into the one near Birmingham through the upper end, through the emergency exit there,
Yeah,
down the ladder. Because there was two. There's a door up top, wasn't there? I think. Was there a door at the top?
Can't remember now.
And then you go down the ladder to the bottom section, and there's a big blast door.
Mhm.
Not a concrete one. It was, it's about an inch thick, I think.
yeah, metal, yeah.
Were these bunkers, repeater bunkers, linked to military or government bunkers, like the regional seats of government or regional headquarters?
You mean by sort of communication links?
Yeah, I
or-
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they ran the main trunk lines, which sort of went around the country between all these bunkers, so it wouldn't be.
So it would, if something's gone down, they can phone them or
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
should imagine there would definitely have been some way of communicating with them. Yeah.
Were these locations of these bunkers kept classified during the Cold War?
Along with everything, there was always a level of sort of classified, if you like. I mean, if you'd have seen it on street level, it would have been a concrete box, and no one would really told
No,
you
I
what
mean-
it was going on in there. So, yeah, it would have had that sort of level of secrecy, if you like. And again, it's a big target installation, so you don't want to give away what's actually going on there.
No,
you
that's
know.
it, yeah.
So, although a case with a lot of these bunker projects they built, I think the local people knew that something unusual was going on there because it wasn't your standard sort of building, was it? So, yeah.
So when you go past sort of substations and stuff like that, you see the old ones, nice looking building, aren't they? You don't know what's going on behind the walls usually. It's like that place actually in St Margaret's, the British Telecom place out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Deep underground, you wouldn't know. I mean, when I saw that video, I was like, bloody hell! I didn't
Yeah.
expect that.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
And that was all part of this sort of protected repeater system, if you like. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
it'd be nice to go in that one.
Yeah.
Anyone out there who works there, folks? Let's get the cogs moving.
Mhm.
What happened to these repeater bugs after the Cold War?
So they did see use carrying on going because they were on that sort of main trunk line, if you like. So that was still needed. So they did carry on going for quite a few years. But as they're doing this sort of changeover now to the sort of fibre optic, originally none of them sort of fibre optics would have run through these stations. So they've sort of been superseded, if you like. So
Yeah.
their sort of usefulness is coming to an end now with the closing of exchanges. Obviously, a building of this size, there'll be a lot of cost and maintenance and upkeep. So they're probably prime targets for some of the first to go, if you like.
Block
So-
flats, car park. Sad.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of places go like that. There was a regional war rooms. I think, who was it? The one we went to, is it Reading?
Mhm.
They put in planning application for that because they wanted a car park. They got declined, luckily.
Yeah.
They just used it for storage badly because all the documents in there are just rotting. It is quite bad condition, isn't it?
Like papers that they from
Yeah.
the Second World War to present day, and it's all just rotted.
It's all just rotting away, and it's a shame.
It's a shame.
isn't
I
it?
mean, what the public don't see,
Mhm.
people like that get away with, don't they? That sort of stuff needs to be put somewhere better than that. To be
Yeah.
protected.
Yeah, it could go into the National Archives or
Mm.
wherever.
Yeah, I mean, the National Archives could sieve through that and pull out a load of stuff. It's just there. It's just sitting rotting. It's sad. Do you think?
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say. Do you think the modern telecom infrastructure is still protected to the same extent?
I'm not. Well,
That's quite an interesting one.
it's quite an interesting one. That, yeah, you'd like to think it was, but
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
redundancy in the system there, whether there is or not.
Mm.
If it's newly installed stuff, you may not necessarily know about it, but
Yeah.
I think the new fibre optic system's just going down to a few super hubs, so that does sort of add vulnerability where it's just in a couple of places, if you like. So Whether they have backups for that hidden away somewhere, you'd like to think so.
Well, you know, who knows, folks? I mean,
Yeah.
all this stuff, I didn't know none of this stuff existed until, you know, a few years back. But yeah, I mean, you got some photos here. Do you want to show those photos?
Oh, well, right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
before we end this one, folks,
Yeah.
we've got a special ending here.
So these were absolutely nothing to do with PR1.
No.
No.
So
So
this is-
these were from my granddad's collection who passed a few years back, bless him. So I rescued these. So these are just a couple that he took from his Royal Navy days. So these are Hiroshima when they visited. So the album marked in these came out was March 47.
Right.
So thinking sometime around that period, although obviously there wasn't a date actually on the photos, but you can just see some of the guys in sailors gear here. So obviously that's the sort of Peace Park in the centre for Hiroshima now, sort of near
Yeah.
ground zero, I suppose. I think it detonated above that building.
Yeah.
So there's some very early photos, so I've kept them safe, tucked away.
It's lovely, that, isn't it? It really is, you know. Yeah. Oh. Right. On that note, folks, thanks very much to James for popping around, giving this insight into Cold War bunkers and all that jazz, folks. So check out his YouTube channel, his Heritage War Sirens. I've got that.
Written there.
That's it. I'll try and clock that. YouTube channel, Facebook group, and also we got Attic Boy 11, who does amazing videos on sirens. And he does restoration and all that stuff as well, doesn't he? And he does the Merlin engine.
Yes.
He's got a massive
Yeah.
Merlin engine.
Definitely, if you're interested in those old sort of World War II plane engines, definitely check that out.
Yeah, and he's got a Facebook group dedicated to that. So, yes, on a note, thank you very much indeed. See you next week for yet another video. So, indeed.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.